There's a wave of group or a group of people that feel like they have a resistance toward this kind of conversation. Right. And it's like, what can you do with no money? like straight up, you can't even take care of your family.
We can't record this podcast.
We can't record it. Oh no, dude, trust God. I bet you somebody's we don't have to beg for miracles if, I would say, money allows the miracle to happen.
What is up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Shaping the Culture. Now, let's just get to it. The whole secular sacred divide. There is no distinction in the scriptures. Some of us have trust issues with God, and some of us, it's like, does God really got us? You can't engage the culture with the gospel that first has not engaged you. Like, you know how people are like, oh, that's just who I am. Nah.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Shaping the code. I wanted to lean into this with you a little bit in our conversation too. I think that when we talk about success and money, conversation gets funny in the church, especially for pastors and leaders, right?
For sure.
I think sometimes that, we forget the fact that Jesus, the number one thing he talked about.
That's my baby, by the way. my son.
Yeah, that's all. I love it.
You talk about Jesus.
Yeah, the number one thing he talked about wasn't hell. It wasn't holiness. It wasn't serving. It was money. Talked about stewardship.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that we're called to make money and steward money. I believe every dollar has a name to it, of course. It's not that we make a whole bunch of money just to keep it and serve ourselves. But can you talk about, because I really, even for me, it took a lot. I had this poverty gospel mindset.
Sure. You're holy for being poor.
Yeah.
The more poor you are, the more holy you are.
Yeah.
I think that's a lie from the devil. But
but bro, I was so seeped into that. I was like, money? What is money going to do for me? That's going to take me away from the things of God. And then you get older, and you come across passages that say a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
How do you do that? By being broke?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
That's generational.
Oh no, dude, it's values 100. Yeah. But it's also, and it's like, yes, pass down values, pass down influence, but no, it's talking about stuff too. Absolutely. Things that so they could start further along. They don't have to. Yeah, man.
Think about it.
Yeah. I feel a call. That's part of the thing. I feel a call to awaken the saints, to that, because I journeyed through that. Being in ministry, I understand that most people that work at churches, they're not going to make a killing. But your perspective on finances is important. Yeah. And people who love the poverty gospel hate the prosperity gospel. And number one, I think they're not gospels. Like, the gospel is the good news of Jesus Christ. So stop attaching another word that doesn't need any attachment. Yeah. But what is prosperity? I love how my Pastor Jabin defines it. Yeah. He says prosperity is enough to take care of your needs and more to take care of the needs of others.
That's right.
How can you take care of other people if you're not taken care of?
Yeah.
And then you hear wealth is a Bible word. Yeah. Wealth is not wealth. It's all over Scripture.
A secular term. Yeah.
I think about the Deuteronomy where it says God's given us the power to create wealth. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by wealth? No, dude, values. No, dude, your knowledge of God. That's wealth. Yeah, but also it's money. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So He's given us the power to create resource and money, and wealth, I would say, is the ability for money to make money, where you're not toiling. The Bible says, you don't have to toil to be wealthy. Yeah. And so if you're actually in line with the call of God for your life, I believe there will be a grace for you to make money, and even God ideas and insight to use that money to create even more resource, so that you can serve better. Yeah. I've been able to serve better without being a full-time pastor because of the money I've been making.
That's good, man.
So, but I don't want to. But people stop there. He's given us the power to create wealth. Why? So that you can establish His covenant.
That's good.
So the reason why do we? Let's celebrate prosperity because what it allows us to do. Yeah. The number one organization that helps every natural disaster, the first people to go out is the local church. What are they going out? Are they going out with people? No. Are they going out with trucks? Sometimes. Are they going out with resource, they're going out with money.
That's right.
They're sending the money.
That's right.
So, dude, and I get passionate about this because it's like when you can unlock and you break that, and I think it's first broken by trusting God as your provider.
Yeah.
And I feel like you cannot experience God's full provision without trusting Him with the tithe. Like the Bible is very clear that you're robbing from Him. And this is pre-law. So if anybody says like it's not in the New Testament, I think it honestly, like I think it's also in Hebrews where it talks about the tithe and the tithe goes to the church. Yeah. And so the word tithe is in the New Testament for anybody who has a poverty mentality that wants to fight this concept. Yeah. And it's funny how people will want to fight what I'm saying right now. Are like there's a wave of group or a group of people that feel like they have a resistance toward this kind of conversation. Right. And it's like, what can you do with no money? like straight up, you can't even take care of your family.
We can't record this podcast.
We can't record it. Yeah. Oh no, dude, trust God. I bet you somebody's we don't have to beg for miracles if I would say money allows the miracle to happen. That's right. Right? Good. So how was I able to impact all these people that I'm that I'm impacting with my podcast? Yeah. Well, dude, this space, the equipment, like that costed me money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I used the money to make the impact. Yeah. And then the multiplication takes place. And God says this, like, this is what happens. Yeah. He'll do more with your 90 than you can do with 100. That's good. And so, man, I feel like, I hope you're not in business thinking that you're more holy by being broke, I hope you're a kingdom entrepreneur. Kingdom, think about kingdom. That word is extravagant. That word is massive. But we're like, nah, dude, like just this. And then like I'm like, dude, no, you should be taking care of every meal that you take people out on. No, you should not flinch at the idea of blessing a person.
That's good.
And that can only happen when you are taken care of.
That's good.
And so yes, I think we need some help, and I want to add to that conversation. So that's why I actually invested a lot of money into the mastermind that I'm in. His name's Myron Golden. And he's teaching incredible biblical principles around for business, but also for money. And it's honestly, it's rocking the church, like it's rocking the local church, because pastors are like, oh my goodness, like I never knew how I could teach my congregation about this. How about this? I dislike the fact that I had to go to secular conferences to learn biblical money principles.
Not ready for that conversation.
My goodness. They're just telling me what it says in Proverbs, just saying it in a different way, throwing a couple cuss words in it. I'm like, dang, like
I found out recently that most secular businesses actually go through the book of Proverbs in their company.
That's fire.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, no, as they should too, though. But but like when I think about the church being a resource, dude, I just read in Ephesians this morning, it's the minister, the preacher, it's the church's job to equip the saints to do the work of the ministry. And equip. Like your job isn't to necessarily have them do ministry. You're equip them. And like when I think about equip, I think about education. I think about empowering. I think about sharing what they need to know and do in order to be effective for the kingdom. And I would love to see more churches, and I think I see this happening. I feel like we're headed there. But I like that the church would in addition to discipleship classes, in addition to foundation and new journey believers and marriage and parent, like that we would have money classes and start whatever. I mean, I know the Financial Peace University is a thing, but I don't necessarily believe that financial peace fully solves the poverty mentality. It's a great mechanism and system for most financially illiterate people, but then there's more to it. There's more to this concept of investing and opportunities. Putting your money in real estate and how to invest in yourself, and just like how to use money, or even like better businesses. Like you have entrepreneurs at your church. That's right. How are they getting fed differently? They should be fed differently. And somebody would fight me on that, but I believe because they can move the vision of the church forward faster because of their ability to transcend time for transactional value. And that's the cool thing about business. This is why I stay in business. This is why I'm an entrepreneur, is because I personally, as a W-2, wouldn't have as much freedom to accelerate finances with the use of my creativity. And so that's the beauty of business. You can use creativity to not let time be a limiting factor in creating, revenue. And so so like when that unlocks, you're like, dang, now I can create infinite money. Myron Golden talks, he shares this, and I'll shut up after this.
No, you're good.
He shares this idea of like, we've been grown up to believe that time is money. And we see it, it's in movies, we're time is money, but time isn't money, because time is infinitely more valuable than money.
That's right.
Because if I said, hey, I'll give you $10 million, I'll kill you today.
Yeah.
Like, will you take that 10 mil?
For what?
You wouldn't, because you know that the time is more valuable. So then if that's the case, then why don't we put more energy and effort into making an impact and living a life that we're supposed to live? So I think, I think as business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives, like, you have this ability to multiply, and this is stewardship. It goes down to stewardship at the end of the day. To multiply your time and make a difference with what the income that you bring.
Yeah, I love that. Redeeming time, making a difference. I'm thinking about Nehemiah, who has a burden to rebuild, not the temple, but the wall. And because he cares, I believe the gospel is holistic. Jesus cares about the whole person, not just the soul of who you are, but he cares about your physical body, your mind, your relationships, finances, all of those things. And Nehemiah is like, well, if there's no wall, then people have no security. If people have no security, then they can't really function. They can't have, grocery stores. They can't have banks. They can't have homes. They can't have all the, they're vulnerable to attack at all time. They're left vulnerable to attack all the time. And what I love is, when the Lord, kind of gave him the game plan to go rebuild the wall, he went to the king of Persia. And the king of Persia blessed him with the resources, blessed him with the money, blessed him with the army that will help him get this wall rebuilt.
Yes.
And to your point, a lot of what we're trying to do, serving people, solving a problem, building the kingdom, it takes resources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I've been convicted of that.
Yeah.
I've been praying for lately. My prayers is, Lord, bless me so that I could be a blessing to others. And I think that God is pleased in that.
And there's a guy who's in the, like, I guess I would call him, he's in my industry, like the entrepreneurial, creator, influencer world. His name's Danny Fleischman. He has a podcast called The Money Mondays, where he interviews, different entrepreneurs and personalities on how they have, experienced financial increase, and then what they do to invest and stuff. And I love, he said this on stage at a friend's conference, and he said, people think it's rude to talk about money. He's like, I believe it's rude to not talk about money.
That's good.
So like, we were raised to think it was bad to bring it up to even begin with. And so that's why I've been trying to be, and it's uncomfortable, but I've been trying to be more transparent with how much I make, and then sharing how I make it. Because if somebody can get the path and they can make more money, then cool. Like, it's crazy. Sometimes I don't even go as far as that. But like, when I make a video on like a full blown setup, people take that video and they start businesses with that video.
Literally.
They're like, all right, I'm going to make a full blown setup. I'm going to rent out this space, or I'm going to take this full blown setup. I'm going to start buying the very things that Omar does and do it for other people.
Right.
And so like, I think exposing those things is really good and healthy, because we don't serve money to begin with. So might as well, let's just talk about it, and us knowing that we can use money to make a difference. Let's talk about how we can make more of it. Let's talk about how we can keep more of it. Learning taxes is its own thing. Dude, I've learned this, that like, business is like level 1, figuring out stage. It's like, okay, figure out your business, figure out the problem you solve, figure out how you get your customers happy, and how you even find customers and all that. That's just like business. And then you make this money. The game is like, how do you keep this money? And then learning that that's level 2. How do you keep this money? And that's like taxes, business structure, write-offs, and all this stuff, which is a whole nother mountain that I've been climbing. And I feel like I got a grasp on because I learned the hard way in 2020. I made my first $100,000 a year, but I made it as a solopreneur, or a solopreneur, a sole proprietor. Yeah. So you're taxed on 100% of your income. So it doesn't matter if you spent it on your business. It doesn't matter. You're taxed on 100%. So if I made 100K, I got to pay 30.
Crazy.
But I only had 30 left. So that wiped us out. And I had my best year in business, and then me not knowing that information wiped me out. Because the most important thing we'll pay is not taxes, and it's not the house we buy. The most expensive lesson, or the most expensive price we will pay, is our ignorance. So me not knowing that I was doing business the wrong way costed me this money. But now I'm exposed to the information. So now I've become more valuable because I know this information. The third level is investing. Like, it's like, I don't make this money in the business just to make this money. I make this money so I can learn how to keep most of it, so that me learning how to invest it, and those work hand in hand. Like, learning about depreciation, cars that weigh a certain amount to allow you to do certain things, and like just structuring your, like, all this stuff. It's a lot, but it's the journey that we must go on. But you also don't have access to that information if people aren't willing to share that information. And if we're afraid and we think it's rude to share that information, then you'll be like Omar, and in the middle of COVID, we'll have to wipe away his savings because I just didn't know.
Yeah, that's good. And that's what it looks like to serve people too. Like, you want to prevent people from
100
to make that mistake.
Yeah, like, Art, he's a contractor, my video person, and he just got his business. He's 21 years old. He's got his business credit card, his business bank account. He's got his LLC in the works to get set up, and then he's gonna file as an S corp so that he could take those expenses in his business and pay himself as an employee based on his personal expenditures and all that stuff. Like, he's getting access to that stuff, by obviously the pain I had to pay, or the price I had to pay, but just being near,